If the ghost of Howard was here, he'd be proud of me right now. We're running a few minutes late. We'll start the meeting off with a roll call, please.
Certainly. Delaware County, Mr. Early.
Present.
Lou Jones.
Yes, sir.
Pat Delameter is excused. Maggie Wilson.
Here.
Yvonne Hart is excused. Jack Farquhar is excused. Please remember Jack's wife. She is in Albany Medical Center at this time, and that's why he is excused today. Jill Dunham.
Here.
Sean Wilson.
Here.
Hamlin County, Joyce Malidi.
Here.
Phil Malidi, present. Gary Wicks.
Here.
Montgomery County, Tom Pasquarelli.
Here.
Vicki Swartz.
Here.
Tricia Green.
Here.
Tony Agresta.
He's working today.
Working today. Mr. Agresta is excused. Otsego County, Sid Chase.
Here.
Ryan Knapp is excused. Dr. Markowitz is excused. Mr. Wygand is excused. Rich Kirschman.
Here.
Harry County, Ed Brand.
Here.
Bill Devers.
Here.
Ed Hillenbrand.
Here.
Dr. I'll get it straight. Dr. Funk is excused. Ben Lauch.
Here.
Mark Zeke.
Present.
Dr. Leinhardt is excused. Tony Agresta just came in. Show him present. Sir, we have a quorum, a full quorum.
Okay, very good. Very good. We got a copy of our minutes from last month's meeting. Need a motion to approve.
I'll make your motion.
Motion's been approved, but made by Gary. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Okay, we have some guests here today.
We do indeed have guests today. We have Mary Ramo.
She's here.
Who is here? I know she's here. John McMillan from Gabac.
Yep.
Deb Cuffs and Howard Hugh from various paramedic programs. Country Suite from JVAC. Lucas Paskowitz from Ambulance Service of Fulton County. Mike Hartzell from Schoharie County Emergency Management. Nice to have you all. Did I leave anybody out inadvertently?
Okay, very good. Welcome one and all. Just looking, a lot of correspondence here today.
A lot of correspondence, yeah.
I'm going to get a chance to look at the correspondence. I'm sure it was all recycled paper, so we didn't kill any trees.
It was mostly cyberspace.
I don't have a report right now. I would like to just deviate just a little bit from our norm before we go into Secretary's report.
All right.
And we have Transportation Standards Committee. We have to vote on Hancock, right?
We do. If I may, I'll read for the record just a review of the Hancock Transfer of Operating Authority request. On June the 1st, Mr. Farrell advised us that it would be necessary for a stenographer to view the meeting webcast for May 21st, 2015, and generate a stenographic transcript of the council actions on that date in the matter of the Town of Hancock application for an uncontested transfer of operating authority from the Hancock Fire Department to the town itself. A subsequent review of the meeting webcast for May 21st revealed that the roll call vote on that date proceeded in an ambiguous manner. Therefore, the material is presented again at this time to remove any uncertainty about the process conducted or the final outcome, and to be in accord with the Department of Health policies and regulations. On April 16, 2015, we received from the Town of Hancock an application requesting transfer of EMS operating authority from the Hancock Fire Department to the town itself. The application was sent by FedEx, was received too late to be included on the meeting agenda for April 16th. On April 20th, the pertinent application paperwork, resolution of authority, transfer, and fitness and competency material was forwarded to the members of the Transportation and Standards Committee and Mr. Farrell at the Department of Health for the necessary review. Mr. Farrell advised us of fitness and competency approval on April 21st. On April 22nd, the entire application paperwork file was sent to all AAREMS members and to Mr. Farrell at the Department of Health. The matter is now ready for a revisit of the roll call vote. I would like to make a motion in the following wording. Resolved that the application of the Hancock Fire Department Incorporated to transfer Rescue Squad operating authority to the Town of Hancock Volunteer Ambulance Corps Incorporated is approved. And so I'd like to make that motion. Do we have a second?
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Chase seconds it. And I would like to ask for a period of any discussion on the subject.
Yes, Tom?
We voted on this already, and I guess the question that I would have is, why is it being kicked back to the council? I'm assuming the council has followed all of the requirements that they have been required to do based off of the policy statement 0606. So the question becomes well, they're saying we need a stenographer. Where does it say that we need a stenographer for any of that? The policy statement is pretty clear that it's a roll call vote. It needs to be the vote along with meeting minutes and any other record of proceedings will be submitted to the state. So where is the state, or whoever is sending it back, Joe Farrell, basing his decision on kicking it back for the stenographer?
There are two issues actually, Tom. The first one is that Mr. Farrell advised me after our last meeting that a stenographer was needed as per state policy, and I said I was not aware of that. He said, well, this is the case. The second one, in reviewing the webcast, he found that we proceeded in a somewhat ambiguous manner in presenting the resolution at the last meeting. So in order to satisfy all requirements and to remove any appearance of ambiguity, he suggested we revisit the whole thing with the stenographer present. Thus, here we are.
And what policy statement is he referring to?
That I do not know.
Can you describe ambiguous manner? That's really pretty open.
Well, we did not. The webcast showed that we did not make a formal resolution, even though we discussed the resolution. It wasn't formally made and seconded. We thought it was at the time. I agree. Nobody thought that more than me, but it was not.
Offer the second. Thank you.
How did it get to a vote? If it wasn't second, if it wasn't a second motion, how did it even get to a vote?
I guess there was the ambiguity. In any event, we're doing it now with a full quorum present, just as it was at the last meeting, in order to remove any appearance of confusion. We're already confused.
Well, I think it's important to move ahead and just do it, because it just puts it on the record, and if there are any questions in the future, there it is for anybody to see. So
Rest assured, we shall have a stenographer present in the future processes of this type.
And we charge a fee for this.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
And that fee is what?
$2,000.
That's to deal with it if it happens.
That fee was paid.
Highly unlikely.
No, I understand. When we sometimes research those minutes, I thought it was more than that for transfer. I thought it was 2,500. It was half of what we required.
No, it was 2,000. I did research it.
Thank you.
I researched it for the last, right before the last meeting.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'm just trying to see if I can get someone to clarify what the ambiguity was for you. Just so you know. Sorry.
Are they referring to the policy statement when they kicked it back for a
I
stenographer?
am not sure. That's why I'm trying to call. I didn't know that this was an issue, but I've been out of the office the last week and stuff.
And that's what I'm assuming you followed, the policy statement.
I'm just wondering if right in here, it was too late to put on your meeting agenda. So then we turn on the day.
I would merely say that proceed, go forward.
No, I agree. I think we need to move forward. It's just, what policy statement is the state referring? I mean, this doesn't just affect this transfer.
Right.
You know, and furthermore, is we've done several of these. Rural Metro, prime example. When Rural Metro's transfer of operating authority went through, we didn't have a stenographer. In fact, the state said, well, let's, we want to simplify this process because they're so large, and basically just put your stamp of approval on it. And none of this was present for that particular transfer.
Right. I agree.
You get a hold of them, Mary?
No, I'm trying multiple people in our office, but I don't want to go on the record of saying no one answers the phone.
May I suggest that we go ahead with the vote, if there's no further discussion, then try to clarify this as we can?
Okay, so we'll call for a roll call vote.
All right, I'll read the resolution one more time. Resolved that the application of the Hancock Fire Department Incorporated to transfer Rescue Squad Operating Authority to the Town of Hancock Volunteer Ambulance Corps Incorporated is approved. A yes vote means that you approve the application, a no vote means that you deny the application. I'll start with Mr. Early.
Yes.
Lou Jones.
Yes.
Pat Delameter is absent. Maggie Wilson.
Yes.
Jill Dunham.
Yes.
Sean Wilson.
Yes.
Joyce Malidi.
Yes.
Philip Malidi votes yes. Gary Wicks.
Yes.
Thomas Pasquarelli.
Yes.
Michael Swartz.
Yes.
Patricia Green.
Yes.
Anthony Agresta.
Yes.
Otsego County, Sid Chase.
Yes.
That was official.
Rich Kirschman.
Yes.
Mr. Kirschman is voting as an alternate in the absence of two members from Otsego County. Schoharie County, Ed Brandt.
Yes.
Bill Beavers.
Yes.
Ed Hillenbrand.
Yes.
Ben Louch.
Yes.
Ben Louch is voting as an alternate in the absence of one member from Schoharie County. This concludes the voting, and the tally is 18 yes, none opposed, no abstentions. The resolution is carried.
Okay. Did we note that the transfer was uncontested?
Yes, that was
Yes.
noted.
Okay.
Right. I'll say again for the record that this transfer is uncontested.
Okay.
This then concludes the matter of the Hancock application for transfer of operating authority.
Okay, thank you. And I'll move into Secretary's report.
Okay. Once again, I just mentioned that Jack Farquhar's wife is in Albany Medical Center and is not doing well from what I understand, so please keep those folks in your thoughts and prayers. We have a course sponsor renewal for Delaware County has been received. It is complete, and I would like to make a motion that it be approved by this region for transmission to the state.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the course sponsor renewalship for Delaware County. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Okay, carried.
Gary, do you have the application for Hamilton County?
I got it part right here, and one of the pages is in my truck, I'll get it.
Oh,
I do have it.
all right. If you just give it to me on.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Jones, take a look at it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we can proceed. Gary's going out to get the rest of the application from his vehicle. We'll proceed in the meantime. On June the 17th, Michael Taylor from the Department of Health advised all regions that plans were underway to receive the stored paper PCRs that all REMSCOs have been keeping in storage for the Department of Health for over 2 years now. And he will advise when arrangements are finalized.
Just as an aside here, a copy of the sign-in sheet for the stenographer. Can we get a copy
I'll
of
send that as an email attachment to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have any copying facility right here now, but I'll send it as an email attachment.
Okay, thanks.
In any event, our program director in Westchester County sent an email to Mike Taylor a week or so ago saying, "Hallelujah, I'm going to send them all to you right now." And he responded with a very pained email with the word "no" in large black letters. Next month, apparently, they're going to be ready to start receiving the 2015 screened paper PCRs, and they're going to work back from 2015 back to 2013 when all the storage started. So they will be sent, as we did in the past, month by month, first with the 2015 paper. It will be nice to get rid of those packages. We have about 15 to 20 boxes. I lost track really at the last count. On May 31st, we were finally able to advise our membership and our agencies that the Android app for the 2015 Collaborative Protocols was available as a free download.
Phil, can I ask a question?
Yes,
You rented a storage facility, or is
Yes.
that an office annex in your case?
it,
For all your paper?
yes.
How will the sudden taking of the paper affect that?
I'm sorry,
you-
how,
Now that they're taking the PCRs,
well, they're
will
taking
you
them,
just move your desk in there? Or?
not too well, it's only 6 by 8 foot.
All right, the paper's off your desk.
No, the storage facility, the storage locker that we rented will probably still have a good number of boxes in it as of the end of the year, according to what Mike Taylor tells me. But some of them are going to be shipped down to New York City beginning next month. I don't have the address yet. I think if some of the regions have the address, they'd be sending them at this time.
So what, it's gonna be the current piece,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, say that
the
again?
current PCRs plus the box 1 month at a time?
1
So
month
we'll
at,
ship two
well,
boxes?
the way I understand it, if I understood his email correctly, it came to me yesterday, it's going to come, first the 2015 PCRs. We can send all that we have for 2015, 1 month per box.
But what I'm saying is that I'm still building one box a month, so
Right.
if you only ship 1 box a month, you're gonna have a backlog just as long as...
My understanding is it's going to be more than 1 box a month. That's my understanding. I will not know the details until I get the final email from him next month, but my understanding is that we're going to ship more than 1 box a month. I agree with you. In any event, to go on, a number of students in this region selected the on-site scoring option for their May 21st, 2015 Critical Care Certifying Exam. When applications for a regional tech number were received from several of them, it was discovered that their level of certification was still listed in the official DOH database as EMT Basic. Inquiry was made to Dr. Leinhardt about issuing provisional tech numbers under those circumstances. He asked me to contact the DOH on the subject. Lee Burns replied that her opinion was that this should not be done until the DOH database was updated. This information was passed on to the respective techs and to Dr. Leinhardt, and it took about 2.5 weeks for the DOH database to be updated, and all of those tech numbers, provisional tech numbers, have been issued, and all but one now is online in the region, and the one who's not online in the region is just because she hasn't taken the credentialing exam yet. I look back, REMAC had a policy that they enunciated back in 2010 that if a critical care tech took the paramedic certifying exam, they could be issued their tech number right away because they already were ALS. The issue of being listed in the official state database as basic, even though they took an on-site scoring and passed the critical care exam, that never came up. And it's only the last few months that the regional offices have been able to look at the state database and find out who's there and who's listed at what level and so forth. So this is kind of a problem. The question was asked to me by email, what's the benefit of taking on-site scoring then if you're going from basic up to ALS? And I had to answer, I don't think there's any benefit at all. But Dr. Leinhardt thought, and Lee Burns agreed, that there might be a liability involved in the region certifying somebody, credentialing somebody at an advanced level when officially in the database they were still basic.
Was everybody updated at the same time in the database, or was the people who had on-site scoring updated before the people who did not?
You do not get officially updated until we receive the hard scores.
Yeah.
So everybody,
On-site scoring, the only, then if, well, no, if your card expires and like say you're working for GAVAC your card expired the previous month, with a temporary card, your employer may want to return to work as a medic, an EMT, whatever. As opposed to waiting.
We were one of the agencies, I will tell you, that had some bad issues. We had an EMT do that, take a paramedic exam, take on-site, and that was the year that PEZ had a virus in their computer and certified every paramedic passed the test. When the state got the test, they found out that there were several that did not pass the test. While he had privileges to operate in this region for roughly 3-4 weeks as a paramedic, he failed his test. But his on-site said that he passed. So the region had to revoke his privileges at the end of the day. But that topic came up at a regional council meeting and at a REMAC meeting. Because of that, originally they put a stop to accepting those. And then a few years later, or another year or two later, they revoked that and they said no, that those papers were good enough to put a person online. So that's the way we have functioned up to this point.
Yeah, I looked it up. In 2010, the issue came up precisely in connection with a group of critical care techs who had taken paramedic certified exam. And the REMAC at the time said, go ahead and issue the tech numbers because they're already ALS. That was what the minutes showed from that particular meeting in 2010. But there is a problem, and everybody seemed to be in agreement that if they're still listed as a basic, you can't, if you certify them as an advanced, then there is a certain amount of liability involved. Possibly a lot of liability, depending.
I mean, the test scores are coming out within about 3 weeks nowadays.
It took about 2.5 weeks.
Well, it seems to me that if the department's reviewing everybody's tests, but online for on-site scoring says you pass, and the department says you don't, it seems like that would nullify the utility of doing on-site scoring. So,
Right.
but I have another question that has come up. Do you need a tech number in order to take the credentialing exam, or do you get a tech number after taking the credentialing exam? And if that's the case, what do you need in order to qualify to take the exam?
To qualify to take the exam, you just need your EMT number and a provisional tech number, which becomes permanent when you pass the exam. When you pass the exam, the software lets you print out a certificate saying you passed it.
Okay, how do you get a provisional tech number?
That's what they have. That's what the application is for. Application for a regional tech number. That form is on our forms and applications.
All right. It's a question I'm trying to resolve over here while I'm texting back and forth to Beth. So, okay. Thank you.
The individual seeking a regional tech number, whether they're newly examined or whether they're coming from another region or whatever, all they have to do is download that form, fill it out, and send it as an email attachment or by fax. And then we run a couple of quick checks on the computer. And one of the checks now is to check the official DOH database. And then we issue a provisional tech number. And it clearly states on the application that they are not qualified to practice in the region until they pass the credentialing examination. Alrighty. This is very much after the fact, but I only got the word the other day. Mountain Lakes Regional Council sponsored a certified instructor update on July 17th in Queensbury. June 17th. No, I'm sorry. It's July 17th. I beg your pardon. I'm temporarily confused here. July 17th, they're going to have a CIU, and it's going to be in your minutes. I read it too fast. It's July. It's advised that Finger Lakes Community College is seeking to employ a full-time paramedic instructor. Further information can be obtained by visiting the college's website, and that address will be on the minutes. And this being our June meeting, personnel evaluation forms and salary requests were delivered to the executive committee. And now it's time for renewal of our regional medical director's agreement. I would like to make a motion that the agreement with Dr. William Fisher to serve as AAREMS Regional Medical Director be renewed for the period from July 1, 2015 through June 30th, 2016, under the same terms and conditions as the present agreement. Dr. Fisher is in agreement with this. So I'll make that as a motion.
Do we have a second? Second.
Okay.
Everyone understand the motion,
Hey, Rich.
renewal of Dr. Fisher's medical director agreement?
Yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained? Okay, you're good.
It is now time to consider renewal of the office lease agreement. I'd like to make a resolution as follows, that the AAREMS office lease agreement with the Speculative Volunteer Ambulance Corps be renewed for the period from July 1, 2015 through June 30th, 2016, under the same terms and conditions as the present agreement, with a lease fee of $5,400 a year, which is the same figure. And I'd like to make that as a motion.
Do you have a second? Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
Joyce and I will abstain because we are members of the Speculative Ambulance Corps. I'd like to read for the record that no member of the Speculative Ambulance Corps receives any pecuniary benefit from this lease arrangement, since the Corps is a volunteer organization whose members receive no compensation for their services. It's also time for renewal of our storeroom rental agreement. This is the month for housekeeping. June is a month for housekeeping. The lessor continues to be Grant Brothers Incorporated, so I'd like to make a motion that the storeroom rental agreement with Grant Brothers is continued at the annual fee of $1,800 under the previously accepted terms and conditions.
Do we have a second? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Just a couple more little resolutions here. It is now time for consideration of our continuing resolution regarding course sponsor renewals received over the summer months. So I'd like to make a motion as follows. Resolved, that the chairman is authorized to approve on behalf of the council properly completed course sponsor renewal applications received from June the 18th, 2015 until the September 17th, 2015 meeting of the council.
Second.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed or abstained?
Can I ask a clarifying question? Are you allowed to hand down authority from body to an individual person?
Yep.
Yeah.
Chairman to do that.
The chairman acts on behalf of the regional as authorized, yes.
Oh, we've done that every summer.
Okay.
On that basis.
The only reason I'm asking is because we just sat here and had to have a vote for something else. I just wasn't sure.
I have a few little factoids which I thought you might find interesting. Regional statistics as of June the 6th. Number of techs active in, excuse me, that should be. Techs active in the region, total number of techs now active in the region, 284, of which 205 are paramedics, 74 are critical care, and 2 are AEMTs. And we have 3 intermediates who will sunset on June the 30th. On June the 30th, intermediates will return to basic practice. Unfortunately, that's, in other words, on the official in the official database, the Department of Health will render them as basics unless they have already qualified at a higher level. I just received an email yesterday, too late to put into the correspondence, an email, I'll show it in the correspondence beginning today, from Dan Clayton, that to make sure that all intermediate agencies in our region, we don't have any currently, all intermediate agencies in our region are aware that as of June 30th, there will no longer be intermediate agencies. They'll be basic, unless there are other members coming up who will be qualified at a higher level. So in any event, it's 205 for paramedics, 74 for critical care, 2 for AEMTs, and currently 3 for intermediates, who apparently will sunset and go back to basic at the end of this month. Total ambulance agencies in the region, these are ambulance agencies, 67. ALS ambulances, 45, and ALS first responder agencies, 4. Just a few little statistics. One final one. We began meeting here at the Holiday Inn on September the 11th, 2003. So in September, it'll be 12 years that we've been meeting here. And we have no notices of violations received this past month.
That's good. Okay, thank you very much.
It's a lengthy report.
Yeah.
Thank you for bearing with me.
Phil, how many ALS agencies were there?
We have 45 ALS ambulances and 4 first responder agencies, total of 49 ALS agencies.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Treasurer's report.
Well, we have a printed report of the cash flow and balance sheet here, and plus Sid and Tom and Lou received the detailed cash flow, balance sheets, and register reports, plus copies of the canceled checks, and they reported.
Found everything to be in order.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Okay, so, as we said, everything in the order, has been in order with the review. We need a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented. Do we have a second? Have a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept the treasurer's report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained?
Abstain.
Second.
A couple other things on our finances. We have a request for program administrator and educational services coordinator for an increase in cost of living increase in their salary, which is about 2.2%. And for fee for service personnel would be 25 cents per hour. In review, we would recommend approval for that. And so that would be the salary for program administrator and fee for service now. Fee for service that now.
Well, actually, it varies.
It just
really.
varies. We don't have it
It
permanent.
varies. Yeah, no, we don't have a permanent person for fee for service.
So a recommendation for just cost of living raise, as we said, committee recommends it. We need a motion to approve. Okay. Second by Jack Early. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed or abstained?
Under Regional Program Agency Committee, I'd just like to announce that our fax machine, our fax capability has been transferred to our new copier, which has a built-in scanning and fax capability. I had the copier text when he was up on other business a couple of weeks ago. He switched it over, so we have a much more reliable fax transmission and receiving a lot fewer scam faxes also.
Good.
Yeah. So the phone number remains the same for fax, it's just that we're using a new machine.
Okay, training committee?
Okay, here I go. It was a training committee day. First of all, we had a instructor update on the 13th of June with 18 students at SUNY Cobleskill, and Howard was the regional faculty course coordinator for that, which I thank him very much for. And from what I heard, it went extremely well, and so that is all set.
I went down for half a day. The venue was it's an excellent teaching venue, obviously an excellent educational venue, and the group seemed to respond very positively. That was my impression.
We discussed the teaching day that is scheduled here for October 31st. We finally did get one day. We we had originally looked for October and November, if we could find a Saturday where we could have both rooms for our teaching day, as we usually do. And up until a couple weeks, well, about a week ago, a couple weeks ago, we couldn't even find a clear Saturday in 2 months to get the 2 rooms, which we usually take up. But they called back and said that there was a cancellation for October 31st, and we can have both rooms that day. There had been a suggestion at the last training committee meeting that we talked to John Politis. Most of you, I think, are familiar with John Politis, and he has some in educational services. He does a lot of education now, and they have suggested that he has a good presentation on a EMS leaders boot camp. It turns out that is a 2-day program, so we looked at the prospectus for all of his training and so forth, and I'm going to call John, talk to him about it, and see if he has any thoughts on what might be some good topics for that we can have for that 8-day, 8-hour training program on that day, and we'll get back to you on that. We had a discussion about the problem with training in Fulton County. Fulton County, the Fulton Montgomery Community College is the course sponsor in Fulton County, and has, within the last couple of years, has done very, very little, if any, EMS training. And there's been a lot of people that are calling and saying we need some training down here. So GAVAC has proposed that they be granted a one-time one-time permission to do a basic EMT original and refresher that would, let's see, the dates proposed are from September 8th to December 17th. Is that right, Tom? Tom's done. I believe it's September 8th to December 17th. The training committee voted to approve that single, the application for GAVAC to do that single training for that basic EMT original and refresher. We were also presented an application for expansion of territory. The course sponsor, GAVAC, the course sponsor, to include Fulton County for BLS courses only. We had quite a bit of discussion about the need for training in Fulton County, and after quite a bit of discussion took place, we did, as a training committee, approve their application so we could basically send it on to the state and have the state do with it as they need for the expansion of GAVAC to include Fulton County for BLS training. Do we need a council vote for that?
Well,
Yes,
we
we
can
need
have
a
one
council
anyway.
vote for that? Okay.
Why don't we have one then?
We're going to do it.
Then there won't be any ambiguity.
I will make a motion that, number one, this is the first one, that the application for GAVAC to do a one-time basic EMT original and refresher course in Fulton County be approved, and that's for the September to December 2015.
I will second.
We have a second. Sid,
That's it.
everyone understand the motion? We have a motion seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstain?
And I also make a motion that the council approve the expansion of the GAVAC course sponsor territory to include Fulton County for the purposes of sponsoring basic BLS EMS courses.
Wait a second. Which has been made and seconded to approve the expansion of the core sponsorship territory for GABA. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Discussion, please. Discussion.
Have a discussion?
At this point in time, the Fulton County EMS Advisory Board has been working diligently since January to address the EMS training deficits here in Fulton County. And at this point in time, we have a letter of intent from the Ambulance Service of Fulton County to also apply for a sponsorship to include all of Fulton County.
Can I interject here?
Yes.
The first step in obtaining a core sponsorship is to requisition the state for an application.
We did. We talked to Andy Johnson. And
Okay.
we're following the instructions that Mr. Johnson gave us, and that's why we're having this discussion.
Okay.
And after talking with Andy, we spoke with Phil for a lengthy period, and he asked us to bring this letter and also support, which we have support from just about every EMS agency in Fulton County, along with the Fire Coordinator's Office, Public Health, the City of Gloversville, and the City of Johnstown to move ahead with this.
I understood that Phil asked that you come to the training committee. I was looking for a discussion with you at the training committee, but...
I
no
agree, and
one
I
showed
missed
up.
it due to a work issue that was an emergency.
I wish you had said something that you weren't going to be here, because there was quite a discussion at the training committee.
Yep, I understand that.
We didn't know what your intent was, and since you did not show up, we didn't hold up the GABAC application because of, we didn't have any thought that you were going to go on with what you were planning, since you didn't show up on this morning.
How long does it take to get this application approved? Does anybody have any idea?
Gary?
It all depends how it falls in the schedule of things. There is no set. Some applications go through in 2 months. Others it takes a year. It all depends on what is submitted.
So if this takes a year, we still have a major deficit until that time?
Which I definitely voted for GABAC doing one time here in Fulton County.
If I may, on a point of order, I don't know any reason why the council cannot consider two motions, one for GABAC expanding their territory and another one for Sean Wilson's application, because what we're doing on that vote is forwarding it to the state for their
But there is no
consideration.
application yet, is that correct?
Correct, but I was told to bring this to the meeting today, and that's what we did. In talking with Phil, and we have also talked with Andy about this, and we have to bring it to the region first, and then before we can get the application.
Yeah, it has to come to the training committee first, the discussion, and it did not come to the training committee. First of all, if we do vote for the expansion, the approval of the expansion of territory for GABAC, it does not necessarily mean that it's going to be approved in the end by the state.
Point of order question for you.
So-
Sean Wilson is here,
Oh,
so he
and,
needs to come
so, you know, one way or another, it's not, our vote for approval of this is not going to be the ultimate decision maker on this. So, I don't know what you guys want to do, just that we didn't hear from Fulton County, we proceeded this morning
Fulton County.
having not heard from it.
I've started this process, and you may be able to even shed a little light. We had to request this application from the state, which was done, a month ago. You bring the application to the regional council and to the training committee so that the application is approved. Obviously, and we have
But there's no
deadlines. The state puts deadlines on that application.
Correct.
So I guess
Okay.
on a technical standpoint, I'm not sure
Can I
that
hand my phone to Joy?
you were
Can I hand
guided
my phone
correctly.
to Joy so you can explain this?
Is the regional council approves
Okay.
applications,
Joyce?
not the
Gene Taylor.
ability to apply.
I agree.
Hi, Jane.
And that's where we were working, but we are following the
I don't know.
instructions that we were given
No.
for the application between AAREMS in talking with Phil, and also the Bureau of EMS in talking with Ian.
As I recall, my conversation with
He
Sean
just came with a
had to do
verbal
with his coming to the training committee meeting this morning and presenting his plan for providing service in Fulton County. I don't recall saying anything about the formal application because that's kind of outside my purview.
Gene Taylor's on the phone with Joyce right now, and they're hashing out what the best way to approach this is.
Who is?
Gene Taylor,
Okay.
who has the final say, or who
No,
goes
I'm fine, Mary. I'm not looking to cause arguments and rift, but this is where the Fulton County EMS Advisory Board has discussed since January and moving forward, and this is where we are at, and we were following some instruction. Yes, unfortunately, we didn't get here this morning. I apologize for that.
I guess the point I was trying to make is I'm not necessarily sure even if we're going to this morning,
That would even
if it would matter because
I
there's
agree
no
with what you're
application.
saying. I agree with what you're saying, Tom.
No.
And, you know, I'm not looking to start a war, I'm not looking for anything like that, but this, we are presenting what we were told to, and that's
The reason
why
why we
we're...
applied is because, like I said, this has been in the works for months. And we got the application over a month ago from UH. We needed to wait for these meetings to get it on the agenda.
Our problem was we've been trying to meet with the college to see what their stuff was, and Dr. Gilman from Public Health has been spearheading it, and we have not been able to get meetings with them until
I think no matter what happens, even if they vote on the application today, you still have every bit of right to apply for an application in which the council votes on it at that point in time.
All right, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I mean, we realize there's a training deficit.
We are
in Fulton County, there's no question.
trying to hit that training deficit, and we've been working diligently within the county with the advisory board to address this, and this is what we've came with public health. So we started the process, and then we followed. We missed the time this morning.
Can I ask a question, Sean?
Yes.
When you say you're working with the college, are you looking to take over the college sponsorships? Or?
Negative. We were looking to make up for the deficit. If so be that the college's sponsorship came over, because I know
There is no
Howard's been...
transfer.
Howard, I understand there's no transfer, Mary. Okay? I understand that Howard's been working with the college to provide classes to the college. That is also down the road, and we've talked with Howard extensively on that also,
Thanks for the
with Dr. Gilman.
Thanks.
Yes? Or no?
I'm staying out of it so far. Finish what you have to say and then I'll speak.
And it was brought to our EMS advisory board, and they asked for this motion to be brought forward, and that's why we were looking to apply, and we talked with, like we said, we started with Indy, and then from there we moved on, and we had further questions to figure out what we had to do on a regional level. We talked to Phil, and then we've been information gathering to get that application, in which we were told to come to the meeting, and unfortunately we had an emergency arise.
I would think, depending on what Gene Taylor has to say, that if the process is you have to go through a training committee, and you weren't here today,
We got to start the next one.
then you got to start in September,
Correct.
because that's the next time we meet. And then the council's going to have to decide whether or not it's appropriate to have two sponsors in the county, and that's an issue that you'll all have to thrash out.
And there's nothing to say that there can't be more than one sponsor in a
That's right.
given area.
It's going to need.
And with all due respect, I don't think it's the council's job to approve that or not. It's to approve the fitness and competency of the application to the State Department of Health. Because that's when they push out for the other course sponsorships to see if it would affect anything. Mary, correct me if I'm wrong. And then it's a state decision for their course sponsorship.
When an application is presented, the state sends out letters to all surrounding course sponsorships asking, yay or nay, and what is the perceived impact on them. And it's all looked at on an individual case-by-case basis.
Right, and as I said, what we do the preliminary, but it can go anywhere from there, yes, yeah, whatever. But Gene did say, we had the application now, we acted on it, and I told her there was a resolution and a second, and she said you have to act on it now, just act on it, as we did.
Okay, so I have two other requests for discussion, but be that as it may, no matter what discussion goes, you're not opposing their one-time only
Absolutely
application?
not, sir.
Training committee's approved it, so go ahead, Jack.
I don't understand what the whole conversation is. We have two entirely different motions here. We started to vote on, can they run a course this September? And all of a sudden, it seems like we've gotten off on a tangent.
We
did
No,
vote on, we approved
Two
that.
separate motions.
This is not Adirondack wants to be a course sponsor for Fulton
We
County.
approved the
This
first
is
motion, I
discussion.
made a second motion, it was seconded, that's on the floor, and that's up for discussion. The second motion was to, the approve, of the, for the GABAC expansion of territory to Fulton County.
Yeah, it's just a Fulton County only and a one-time deal.
I'd like just a chance to respond to Sean when you guys are okay with it.
Just a second.
I just got a few questions to try to figure out. Who else is a course sponsor in Fulton County? The college?
The college.
So the college is currently one, and
SUNY Cobleskill,
SUNY Cobleskill is one.
yes.
So when you say that they send the DOH will send it out to the surrounding, only other ones in that county, or also surrounding counties?
Anyone that's a sponsor.
Use course sponsors, surrounding course sponsors. So they may send one to mid-state. I don't specifically do this. Sean also bypassed the local reps on this process, going right to central office, which
Okay.
makes it more difficult.
So there's already two. We have GABAC that wants to do one now. Fulton County, or the Fulton Montgomery College hasn't done anything in 2 to 3 years,
Correct. Fulton Montgomery has verbally said that they are going to be dissolving their sponsorship.
and you have not done anything ever, or
We take students from without
Gotcha.
a problem, but physically in, no. We have had, SUNY Cobleskill has had
for how long?
operating authority, if you would, there for a long, long time.
Okay. So that's something
This
that's
is
going
not
on.
new, this is already previously standing. We cover all the counties in AAREMS with the exception of Hamilton currently. So, in December, FMCC's dean had reached out to me through Mark Hitchcock, their course sponsor administrator, and said, hey, we haven't been able to really run a course here in about a year, we're having real problems, will you guys help us, SUNY to SUNY, help us provide some courses here. So, in January, I came to the meeting here and said, they called us, we didn't expect this, we're going to reach out and see what we can do to help them. And since then, we've been working back and forth. FM has some legwork to do still with the Department of Health, because even though they've been given the right avenues to follow, it's new for some of them and they just haven't followed that. Their request, though, was that we essentially come out there because we already have a course sponsorship that covers their county and teach on their campus. So, truly, I got this morning an email from our campus that an MOU is set to be signed. We're not going to sign that until FM can turn around and do what they need to do with the Department of Health, because as Mary said earlier, there's no transfer of course sponsorship. In our particular case right now, though, if SUNY Cobleskill wanted to, we could teach on FM's campus as SUNY Cobleskill tomorrow if we want to run a course. It's just that we're trying to make this a smooth transition. So we essentially have operating authority to teach there right now if we want to.
So I guess those are a couple more questions that raises now for me.
Right.
Does the course sponsorship ever have to be renewed?
Yes.
It does. How often?
Every 2 years.
Right.
Every 2 years for each county?
It's not a county.
For each sponsorship.
For each sponsorship, I'm sorry.
It's similar to a CON for an agency.
Right, yeah, yeah. But, and, so every 2 years, so that answers the question of whether or not they get turned in.
Mhm.
So even though FM hasn't done anything in 3 years, they didn't turn theirs in 2 years ago.
No, they turned it in, but since then have not done anything. When I went to schedule them for an audit, as they're subject to audits periodically, that's when they announced to us that they were planning on dissolving there.
Okay.
And we didn't bypass the reps. The only rep that we have had a chance to talk to, and it wasn't anything against you, Mary, we talked with Joe because at that point he was available to us. And we were told to contact Andy.
Howard, do you have anything else?
You know, the only thing I want to say is just in transparency, Sean, I did talk with Dr. Gilman, and I was unaware that you were going to be in the room at the same time when I was speaking with her, but then I was. But that conversation from her stemmed through FM asking me to contact her because she, as she coined it, had a public health crisis in Fulton County. And we spoke for about 20 minutes about conceptually what was going on. That was quite some time ago now. But I never knew, except for the rumor mill, that you guys were looking to put together course sponsorship. But honest,
We
honest,
just talked.
if I can finish.
Yep.
honestly, I find it a little bit underhanded that you wouldn't mention that to me in the first place. I know that the folks to my right have been looking at doing this, and frankly, they were very straightforward about it. So I think there's plenty of room here for everybody to work together if we all put our cards on the table.
And we're willing to do that.
Okay.
Question for clarification from Mary. Forgive my ignorance on this. With the course sponsorships, when you contact the neighboring course sponsors, do they have a yay or nay sort of veto on this, or is it just?
No, they're
soliciting?
sent a letter, they're asked to reply, and then central office looks at the responses, sometimes calls for clarification.
Oh, okay, so it's just soliciting information.
It's soliciting information, correct?
Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion?
Just one. Is it reasonable to expect that 3 different course sponsorships would be needed in Fulton County? Or college would be out, so it would be GAVAC, it'd be the college, and be Fulton.
Well, as Mary
Seems
said,
like an awful lot.
there's really no restriction that says you can't have.
But it's based on the need for.
It's not the
that
same as an
training.
ambulance application.
Right, but there's still a need factor to that. If there's only going to be 4 students at some course over the course of 2 years,
That-
what's the
I don't
point
think
of
we're
having
going to
that
have
program?
that. And again, those were talked between Howard and myself on which direction we're going to go. So I know Howard's running a course, and I mean they have no education at all in Fulton County. And Fulton County is a broad area. The college, even when they were doing classes, would not even go up north. So,
FM.
or FM would not go up north. So there are several different things, and we are working with SUNY Cobleskill so that we're not overlapping and being competitors. We just want to make sure that everybody is being covered when they need to be covered.
I said it earlier at the Training and Aid Committee, but neither one of us had a primary mission to serve Fulton County in this sense, and we each have larger business scopes otherwise. And it was when FM had reached out and said we really have this problem that we both turned around and said, look, we probably work together and serve them very well.
Okay. Other discussion?
Yes. I'm just, I wanted to take issue with Howard's comment about regional council's powers and responsibilities. As Article 30 says, this is under the section about regional councils, number 4, each regional council shall have the responsibility to coordinate emergency medical services programs within its region, including but not limited to the establishment of emergency medical technician courses and the issuance of uniform emergency medical technician insignia and certificates. So that seems to me that you should be able to coordinate the numbers of course sponsors.
I agree with your definition of it. I don't think I've ever heard it put that way.
Well, okay, just trying to clarify.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
That's my job.
Mary Newberry, yeah.
Well, I agree in what Article 30 says. I can't really disagree with it. But again, I think maybe in the future we need a little bit more cooperative spirit with all the agencies in this region. And if there's any questions, let's get them out in the open before we start any processes. And I don't know if I'm sure the state has guidelines that they've sent out to everyone that's applied for course sponsorship. And I know that course sponsorship, when they've requested it from the region, Phil has given everybody all the information they needed. A glitch this morning, not coming here for the training committee. Okay, that's water under the bridge. If there's no further discussion, I would like to call for the vote.
What are you voting on at this point?
The motion is,
The motion to approve the expansion of the course sponsorship training for one time only in Fulton County for GAVAC.
I thought that was.
No, this is for the expansion of territory
Sponsorship
to
territory, yeah.
include Fulton County.
Fulton County only,
Not the one time only.
right, just to include Fulton County only.
Second motion.
All right. And that's why I just wanted to be sure everyone was on the same page.
Can you read that motion again?
Joyce has the motion.
The motion to expand, to approve the expansion of the GAVAC course sponsor territory to include Fulton County for BLS courses.
Right.
Okay, that's the motion.
Currently, it's just Montgomery County.
Correct.
Right, just don't look on it right now. Does everyone understand the motion? All those in favor? We had a second, right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
Well, maybe better have a show of
Yeah,
hands.
that's,
Okay. Okay, again, we'll call for the vote. You want to do a roll call vote or show of hands?
Show of hands is good.
Call for a vote with a show of hands. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. All those opposed? 1, 2. And abstain? 2, 3.
4. 3. I'm sorry.
4.
4.
4 abstain.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was your hand up. Okay.
Was everyone that voted a voting member? Procedurally asking, sorry.
Voting members.
I'm sorry.
did anybody vote that was not a voting member?
Just one moment.
Okay.
Roll call. Gee, thanks, man.
No, just so there's no ambiguity about it.
Just members, Mary's ready.
After 10.
Okay, we're going to do a roll call vote. Okay. We had a second for you. You did second. Trish Green second.
That'd be 4.
Joyce and Trish Green seconded. This is, okay, roll call vote on this motion. Jack Early.
Against.
I'm sorry.
No.
Against.
No. No. Lou.
Yes.
Maggie Wilson.
Yes.
Jill Dunham.
Abstain.
Sean Wilson.
Opposed?
Joyce.
Yes.
Phil, I vote yes. Gary.
Yes.
Tom.
Abstain.
Mickey.
Abstain.
Trish.
Yes.
I can't even.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Tony Creston.
Yes.
Sid.
Yes.
Rich.
Yes.
Ed Brandt.
Yes.
Bill Beavers.
Yes.
Ed Hillenbrand.
Abstain.
Ben.
Yes.
Okay, that is all of our voting members who are present. So we have, sorry? I have 12 in favor. Two opposed. And 4 abstained.
You get an additional person. You get one more than last time.
Well, even if you count the abstains as a no vote, it still carries.
Yes.
So the motion is approved. Okay.
Once again, I just have to, I guess we're close to beating a seriously ill horse at this point, but once again, we're just approving that this application be sent on to the state for their review and final approval. We're not,
That's all it is.
yeah, we're not giving final approval because we don't have authority.
The last thing on the training committee, hopefully not any kind of issue with it. The CPAP training program, the proposed, well, actually the sample policies for agencies, because every agency has to, that wants to do CPAP has to have a policy. The training, the testing materials, and the application, the audit form, all that material has been sent to the REMAC physicians. They're in the process of reviewing it, and we will let you know if and when they approve that. And when they do, we'll send out that material, except for the testing material, that's not going out. But I'll send that out for your information. And this is the BLS CPAP program.
One of the positions Dr. Markowitz has responded already, and I'm just waiting for the others. And they're going to respond and make their decisions via email as per Dr. Leinhardt's policy in the off-season, so to speak. And I will nudge them along to make sure that we have a timely response from them.
There was a question about whether the agencies already that are in participants in the pilot project will have to update, to do some type of update to the new material. And I'll put that in front of the physicians and see what their thoughts are on that.
Okay. Very good. Anybody have any questions for the training committee? Okay, anything else, Joyce?
Yeah, just my resignation.
No. We don't accept resignations after 2 o'clock. Okay, we don't have anything more on state council. We haven't met yet, right?
When is the state council next meet, Tom?
That's undetermined at this point. They're looking to end the dates.
Well, the tentative is 8th and 9th of December, I believe, now. Nobody was going to show up for the September meeting, apparently.
So they pushed it out.
Okay.
Those are tentative dates.
Yeah.
All right. Point of order, I'll correct myself. Transportation standards, do we have anything on that?
We don't know. We already handled that. We
Yeah,
had nothing
that's all
further.
To answer, we did get an answer from DOH, and as part of our deliverables, Objective 8, Attachment C, under Public Meetings Law, any statutory changes or regulations have to be recorded by a stenographer. So that is the legal answer.
It comes from the deliverables, not a policy statement. The
Yeah, the deliverables.
Oh, they're deliverables. Okay.
Require any public meeting that
Rich Brand researched
that
it for
has
us.
statutory changes required.
He was the only one that would answer.
Ironically, we are not the only council that appears that has not done this in the past. I think that the ambiguity of our video is what triggered this.
Shame on the video.
Well, okay, thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In the interest of creating less ambiguity, I would ask you all, when you vote, even on ayes and noes,
He must have.
speak up. Don't sit here and mumble. I mean, this is democracy, so let yourself be heard.
Well, if you notice, that's why I asked for a clarification of what you guys were voting on for the last go around.
Yeah.
And AAREMS charged a fee of $2,000 to the ambulance service. How much does the stenographer cost?
The stenographer will probably cost around $500. That'll be my guess. One of the reasons, I'll be honest with you, one of the reasons that, and this is for the camera too, that I wanted it up front was because it allows less time for the stenographer, less time on site.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, we saved an hour of their time, which is considerable.
Okay, regional program update. Anything for the director's meeting?
Nothing at all. Nothing.
Any other program updates?
Nothing to report. That is all.
Okay.
REMAC report. The REMAC next meets in September.
Okay. County report. Ella?
We have our AMT class testing tonight, it's our first one. So with that, I have questions. One, we actually do have one intermediate agency that'll moonlight in on June 30th. They also have people in the AEMT course, so do they need to reapply to be an ALS agency then?
That would be a state decision, honestly. I don't know.
So they have to reapply to the council, right? For the region?
To the REMAC, yeah.
So you need them to reapply?
I don't know.
And then for the other ones that already belong to ALS agencies, do they need to send you a letter updating you that they will be operating at the AEMT level as well?
No, because the DOH, the famous DOH database will show me where they are. Yeah.
And then they can get their tech numbers.
Sure, if they apply for a regional tech number, and, you know, we have the AAMT credentialing exam in place. And so forth.
And then how are they viewed by this region? Are they viewed as ALS?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for purposes of ALS dispatch, how are they viewed? That's my question. See,
It's a
Howard?
good
Yep.
It's a very good question, but I have to say ALS because they're not intermediates anymore, they're in the category.
In 2012, I'm channeling my inner Andy Johnson here for a minute, because I've heard him say this numerous times. In 2012, he sent a letter out to all of the regions saying, get ready for this, they're coming, you need to have a plan in place.
Right, I mean, my dispatchers be the answer.
Yeah.
They're definitely ALS.
They're ALS, so that's just, I don't need to send a medic?
Mm-mm.
I don't really.
Well, that's up to the county, that's a county policy, you can set forth any regulation you want as a county.
Because what are the
They're gonna
medications they're allowed to give now?
It's Epi? Yeah. Epi, D10, glucagon, I have to look at the protocol. It's not that much. It's not enough to.
Especially if you get like seizures or something.
Yeah, they get a line. Narcan, but.
Let's pose that question to Mary.
C. The answer's always C if you don't know.
That's what I'm doing on my next.
The question has come to the AEMT program.
Mhm.
The class is ALS. And
There's no longer ILS because that's out
that's
of,
been phased
that's
out.
gone, June 30th.
By statute, it's not addressed at this time. I would have to ask for clarification from the office.
It's ambiguous.
Start that way.
No, I'm serious. By statute, it's not there, so
And as Howard said, we did ask this question quite a while ago. You know, and stated that, you know, it's coming, that the regional programs need to get
right,
ready for
here's
it.
the problem with the AEMT, the same problem that was with the original intermediate. Are you talking about New York standards, are they ALS? Or are you talking about national standards, like if you're requesting ambulances under the AMR contract?
Yeah.
Correct. So it depends where you're looking at this for, what the answer is. So I'm not sure which way you're going with this.
Mayor, the only thing I spoke to, and Lou, just to clarify, was that Andy had sent a letter to the regions, specifically the REMAX, to say in 2012 that said, hey, look, this is coming. Regionally, each region needs to define.
Correct. It's under that letter is found under the frequently asked questions under the transition to national standards on the website. It's scary that I could tell you exactly where that letter is.
That's how I knew where it was, because so many people have been referred
But
back to.
they specifically state you needed to reach out to the agencies as a REMAC body and say, you know, are you going to upgrade, transition, etc. And that was supposed to be done by June 30th of 2015.
We've got a couple days left.
We discussed it.
Maybe they can
I mean,
Did bring this up.
right, I mean, essentially what most agencies are doing is they're going back down to BLS level unless they've done the transition over with the
Right.
approval.
But what her question was is, you take the AEMTs,
Mhm.
so
say,
So like I have a BLS agency.
Correct.
They've got people in the AEMT course.
Okay,
They apply to the region to become an ALS agency with the region so they can carry the stuff for the AEMT.
right.
Okay, and I have one agency that's still an intermediate agency until June 30th. Do they need to reapply to be an AEMT agency, or do they just
They
apply
can't
if they're-
automatically roll over without the REMAX approval.
So they need to everybody needs to reapply then?
It's not really a reapply, but let the REMAC or Phil know what their intention is. Are they gonna drop to the BLS level, or are they gonna have their members transition to the AEMT level?
They're gonna test tonight.
So like Maggie, in Remo, they had a REMAC decision a while ago that basically said any agency that was on the intermediate level, once they meet the standards for AEMT, they simply are allowed to transition over.
So basically, I would have them.
That's what my question is.
Yes, have them send a letter, Phil, please correct me if I'm speaking out of turn, to Phil, you know, for him to bring to the REMAC saying these guys are transitioning from A to B, all requirements have been met.
I'm very good at sending this stuff out as email attachments to the REMAC docs. I'm very good at that.
Okay.
A couple of keystrokes and it's done.
But that would be the best way to handle it. on this day, with the 6 students or whatever number made the transition from intermediate to AEMT.
Then the other question was a dispatch question. Are they ALS when they call en route with their ambulance? Is that ambulance?
What were they treated as an intermediate within their county dispatch? It would remain consistent with what the county had already established.
Okay, then they went en route intermediate, but ALS still had to be dispatched. A critical care or a medic still had to be dispatched. Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yep, it does.
Because ideally, the AEMT is like the rural time gap solution.
Right,
or
I mean, a lot of times
definitive
ALS doesn't make it, and that just is what it is.
Right.
We say stopgap measure and continue transport. Okay.
To throw a little, another side on into it, as far as CPAP is concerned, they're considered BLS, because they don't get trained in CPAP apparently in the AEMT. So they will have to take the CPAP BLS training, and they will also have to call for an ALS intercept when they. So there are variations in some of this as far as the AEMT level.
Yeah, because the original critical care was the original rural stopgap.
Right,
Yeah.
but now it's been moved down a level to the AEMT, because they got rid of the intermediate, switched it over. A lot of this might be, your best bet might be to look at it on a county by county or region by region level.
Well, so when your agencies, you're testing out tonight, when you get the results, basically what the agency would have to do would be to send a letter in to Phil. He will email it right to REMAC docs. They will vote on it.
I'll send it to the docs and I'll advise you as soon as I
Well,
get
here's
it.
the problem though. Between now and 3 weeks from now, she's not gonna know the results.
Right.
No, the result, you couldn't send me the letter after the results are in.
Right, I won't send the letter till after the results.
So until the
Just
results
wasn't
come
sure.
in and you get the approval, they should be a BLS agency.
Right.
Because as of June 30th, there is no intermediate.
Right, so for that gap,
So, yes.
So that gap to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, taking the test until you get the results, you can't function at that level.
they just wanted me to clarify, so.
Yeah, no,
Good question.
Okay, so as stated, he will send this letter to REMAC basically on agency by agency,
So
and have them approve it via email with a conference from the REMAC. The regional council doesn't have to do any more than that.
Right. No, strictly REMAC decision.
Okay. Otsego. Sit up. Anything else from Otsego?
We've had the CC class completed. I don't know the numbers on how many passed, failed, but critical care class is complete.
Okay. Harry?
Ed, you're up.
Just working on training and trying to straighten out a lot of the stuff that was done before.
Good luck.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would say.
Okay, Montgomery.
EMT courses in the fall, as well as a paramedic refresher. September EMT courses are September 8th to, they test out December 17th. And you have to just check our website for the ALS
Yes,
core
sir.
content stuff.
Paramedic refresher core content?
Alphabet.
Or is it a-
CME. Gotcha. Sorry. It's like, what? You're doing what?
Fulton?
Jack tells me that the EMS council hasn't met the last 2 meetings because they haven't had a quorum, but they're trying to move forward on the mutual aid revisions, and then whatever was discussed earlier.
Okay. And Hamilton?
We're waiting on the results from our refresher class we had. We're lining up an EFT class for September.
Okay.
Normal. Black flies are still out.
Black flies.
Mosquitoes are biting like hell.
I can attest to that, yes.
Can I get that stuff to sprinkle in your yard, Gary?
A giant pumpkin's growing though. The suckers are okay.
Are they?
Yeah? Wow. Gonna have a 1,000-pounder?
I hope so.
Okay. Old business? One thing on old business, and I'll turn this over to Jill, is the nominee committee, the results of the nominee committee, and for elections, do you have a report on that?
Everybody has been spoken to that wanted, there was no changes. So Jack said how it's set now is how it's set up for the nominations.
So the slate remaining the same?
Yep.
We need a motion.
Okay, we'll have to, could you, just for the sake of Robert's Rules of Order, which we've been very good at today, I must say, would you make a motion to that effect, and then we'll call for the vote?
I'll make a motion that the slate for the council remains the same. As it is.
Slate of officers.
Yes, the slate of officers remains the same as current.
You still have to open it up for nominations for
Yep.
each
Okay.
position.
Okay, so we'll open it up for, we need a second on that motion. Oh, okay, what you just did, Joe, was give the opinion of the nominating committee that the slate remained the same. So we
Yes.
have to make a motion that, for the office of chairman, that the nominations be open from the floor. Who'd like to make that motion? You can if you want.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Good, second?
Second?
This is for all officers at once?
No.
No, this is the chairman.
Oh, chairman, okay.
Was there any
The
other
office of
interest?
chair.
Yeah. 3 times.
Are there any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor?
I move to close the polls, the secretary cast one ballot.
So who's that? Sorry.
I'll second that.
Fails to leave the meeting or something.
Okay. Okay,
Vice chair next.
do the same thing for vice chair.
Yeah.
Make a motion for the vice chair.
Second? Okay.
Jack,
Okay. Motion made and seconded to hold nominations from the floor for vice chair. Are there any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Any nominations from the floor? Okay, none. We need a motion for the poll to be closed.
I'll make it.
And for the secretary to cast one ballot for vice chair. Okay. And for secretary treasurer,
Make a motion for the secretary treasurer.
Second on that.
we need a second. Second.
Who's second?
Sid Jason, that's it.
Rich. Sorry, this is Robert's Rules of Order, bear with us.
Are there any other nominations from the floor? Any other nominations from the floor? Any other nominations from the floor?
Motion to
Move
close.
that the nominations be closed and that the secretary cast one ballot.
Motion? No. Point of order. Secretary can't vote for himself.
Right,
Oh,
so be it vice chair or chair.
that's right.
Well, you also need to vote on the motion to close the polls and cast one ballot, which hasn't been done in the last two.
No.
Yeah.
I hasten to point out, sorry.
I guess I wasn't speaking loud enough. We did make a motion for that, Mark.
That's correct, but there wasn't a vote. You didn't call for a vote on all those motions.
Okay, kids, let's reset.
Okay, point of order, I stand corrected. We need to do this again.
Everything?
No, not everything, just discuss a vote for the polls to be closed and for the secretary to cast one ballot for the office of chair.
Where's the secretary?
I'll make that motion.
A motion has been made, seconded,
Move this thing on.
Second.
and a second.
Who was the second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained?
All right.
Let's get out of here. Okay, all right.
Vice chair closed.
Howard Taunton.
Can I make
Okay,
a motion
now,
that we call
motion.
3 peoples?
For closing the case.
Two.
Put them together.
Motion made for the office of vice chair. I want to understand the motion. Do we have a second? Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed or abstained? Okay. And the motion for secretary, treasurer.
Closing case, Joyce made that motion. We need a second on that.
Nominate Phil Malidi.
Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Bill's gonna teach one.
We have a vote, we have a motion, we have a second. Who did we have a second on that?
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? And that for the vice chair, you cast one ballot. Okay. Any other questions? Meeting. Any new business for this council?
Just a comment from me. I'm sorry to be so painful today, but this is how you get in trouble, folks. You have to be absolutely clear. You have statutory responsibilities, and you have to be on the record. And it's really, really important when, if somebody questions what you do and why you did it, and at a higher level, the only thing you have is the record you create. And so many times at the state council, we get these things, you know, on appeal, and there's almost no documentation by some other regional councils. And it's really, really, really important to speak up and be clear on the record.
To that point,
Yes.
Joe Farrell was one of the phone calls I got back.
Yeah.
And what he said was the clincher with the making the stenographer was, I guess he and Phil looked at the video, and there really was no clear motion or second made with the vote. That was the crux of the issue.
It was, I'm quite sure it was made, it just was not clear on the video, and there's no question, no disputing the video, it was not clear.
Right.
It was ambiguous, there's that word again.
So you really have to make kind of an extra effort to be really clear, so that if there's a question that arises later, it can easily be answered. Otherwise, it gets kicked back, or something else happens that's worse. Sorry, I'll stop.
No, thank you. Thank you. You're absolutely correct. I am corrected. So, any other new business?
Next meeting date.
September 17th, 2015.
Okay.
Make a motion.
For adjournment?
Make a motion.
9/17.
Motion made and seconded for adjournment.
Right, you don't even need a second on motion for adjournment.
You all have a great summer.
All in favor?
Nice and safe.
Here we go, voting with our feet.
Anybody opposed?